Hi everybody. I want to have a look at the end of the second quarter when the Warriors were locked in a pretty tight fight with the Houston Rockets, young, talented, and disorganized. And suddenly Otto Porter went supernova and gave the Warriors a cushion that lasted the rest of the game. It's a 1-point game with under 2 minutes to go. Poole initiates this two pass, which should go to the post to set up a post split, but currently Gary Payton II is in the post. In some ways, GP2 plays like a center and he plays way above his size, but you don't want him playing the post in the post split. So what's going to happen is Otto Porter's going to swing around and get this cross screen from GP2. There we go. And so after the screen, Otto Porter is going to be the post passer in the post split. Here are the two men. We have Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole. Wiggins is trying to clear out. So between Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole, one of them has to screen for the other. Gosh, I wonder who that's going to be. But Looney steps out, screens Poole's man. Otto Porter is going to hit him with the pass. Not bad. Poole is open for a split second, but his defender is going to bust hard around the screen to contest this. Because the defender went around the screen this way, Poole's just going to run around the screen the other way. And that is going to draw Theus up to the level of the screen to try to show and recover or just plain old trap Poole. So Poole has drawn two men to him. Looney's done this before. He set the screen, now he's just going to slip. Poole's going to set this nice little pocket pass, and now it's going to be a 4-on-3 on this side of the court. Looney's driving. This player helps off of Otto Porter Jr. I don't know if that's what the defensive coordinator of Houston wants to happen. Typically, when there's a breakdown like this and there's a driver, you want a person who's on the side away from the ball, the weak side, and low, meaning the one who's closest to the basket. You want this person to rotate, because if this person rotates, then there's a very simple pass to an open three-point shooter, and that's what Looney does. He turns. Otto Porter Jr., excellent shooter. Otto-matic from the corner, question mark. Nice dribble sidestep, and yes, Otto-matic from the corner. The next play down, Houston tries attacking with a pick and roll. It looks like Theus is going to set a screen for, I think that's Kevon Porter Jr. The Warriors played ice all evening. Ice defense means that when there's a pick and roll on the wing like this, Jordan Poole is going to force the ball handler to reject the screen. So you see how he's standing? It just makes it really hard for this ball handler to take a screen in this direction. So that's going to force the ball handler to go that way. And in ice, there's two parts of the ice defense. One is that you force away from the screen. The second is that the big here is in drop position, so that when the ball handler goes away from the screen, he doesn't have a free run. He gets met by this defender who's in drop. And hopefully the drop position will give him enough time to react to the little speed bug. That's exactly what happens. Kevon Porter is attacking really impatiently here. GP2 gets into the party, rotating to stop the drive directly. Wiggins is on the side to threaten the drive. Kevon Porter Jr. has a bit of tunnel vision here. He's got 1, 2, 3 open people, but he says, YOLO, man. And YOLO is good for 0 points. Otto Porter Jr. with the rebound and counterattack, and even worse, Kevon Porter Jr., I think he felt like he was fouled, and he was accentuating that by falling to the ground and flopping around. So now it's a 5-on-4. And Houston is not very organized at this point. There's not any really good solution for them. This man's covering this man, this man's covering Wiggins, this man's covering the cutting Looney, this man's covering GP2, which means the lucky winner is Otto Porter Jr. is not covered by anyone. He does feed GP2 going in, which forces this defender to really cover GP2. GP2 says, hey man, I see there's two of us here and one of them. Somebody's got to make something happen. So he throws the ball right back. Porter almost makes it back in time. I don't really know what this defender was doing. He just got confused and he's covering nobody. Porter again with the pump fake for the second flyby in about 30 seconds. And 3. As soon as the shot goes up, you see Steph Curry jumping off the bench I think this is Moses Moody. He's just flashing up the okay threes. Same here. But Steph is losing his mind. This is one of the charming things about Steph's leadership. I really think he takes joy in the success of others, and he shows it in this way. You see him consistently getting more hyped about his teammates having great plays, like going nuts for Klay breaking Steph's record, or in this case, Otto Porter Jr. just firing his second consecutive three. He's really unnaturally excited about this, and as the ball goes through the hoop, you see Steph is now jumping up and down. He's hopping like a frog, and he's going to end up under the basket. He's so excited. Houston goes again with the aggressive, fast, early in the shot clock attack. We've only got 3 Houston people anywhere close to participating. Here's another one, and I think there really is someone off screen. But Jalen Green says, you know what? I can beat Andrew Wiggins off the dribble. He's just going to try to blow by Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins says, I'm going to stay with you. Kevon Looney does not trust, and he comes over to stop the drive. The Wiggins is right on his hip, but Looney thinks that Jalen Green can finish around him, so he's come to help. And that means somebody has to be open, and that's Theus, who can definitely hit a 3. So as soon as Jalen Green sees that he's got 2 on him, he immediately jumps up and just chucks it to Theus. Good play. But the Warriors are still onto this. Kevon Looney left Theus, so GP2 needs to rotate to Theus. And he does. You'd think Theus could just shoot over him, but I think he's got the kind of shot that's better when no one's contesting. So GP2 comes right up to him, runs him off the line. Things are in a bit of a mess right now. Theus thinks he's got someone lifting so that he can make a pass out to the arc, but Otto Porter's onto this and he's just going to jump the passing lane. Nice. And now he's just attacking. It doesn't look like the Warriors have an advantage. Otto Porter is just dribbling up. He's got Jordan Poole trailing. GP2 is ahead, but he doesn't feel ahead, and in fact he's going to point back towards Poole to say, hey, throw it back to Poole. This is 3-on-3. So Kenyon Martin is pointing to number 3, saying, hey man, you better get Jordan Poole and I'll take Otto Porter Jr. But unfortunately he's sunk well behind the 3-point line. I don't think he knows his personnel here. He's so far off of Otto Porter Jr., and Kevin Porter Jr. definitely thinks he's covering Jordan Poole. That means Otto Porter can just step up to the 3-point line and walk into an open 3. Steph is so excited. I don't think he's sat down since the last play. And look at his anticipation. He's jumping up and down. He's so ready to freak out when Otto Porter Jr. hits this 3. And as he sees the ball in flight, he knows it's going to go in, and he's just going to go mad. He's going to run around like this again. It's kind of bedlam. Steph is on the court bouncing around like a kangaroo. Otto Porter Jr. actually got fouled on the play, and he's down on the ground, which is going to cause his teammates to rush over to pick him up so he can get back on defense. This is probably illegal to have this many bench people on the court, but hey, when your role player hits 3 threes in 1 minute, you kind of get excited. The law of the Warriors jungle is when a role player is going off, then you have to start force feeding them. That's the kind of culture that Steph Curry has set, and the Warriors take a while to get into this play, and it's pretty confused. You can see Otto Porter pushing Andrew Wiggins into position. Everyone's trying to get to their positions. It's 15 on the shot clock. This is definitely a called play because the Rockets had free throws, and after every stoppage, Steve Kerr calls the next play. Can you tell what play this is? A man takes a pin down, comes up, that's a ghost screen and slips. The person who sets the pin down themselves gets a pin down. This is the vanilla Klay play. So there's the pin down. And you can see Looney's ready to set this pin-in screen. Otto Porter Jr. is going to take it. So this is a play the Warriors are running to try to get Otto Porter Jr. his 4th consecutive 3. But unfortunately, these two guys are not on the same page. Wiggins does the slip, but Chiozza, who, doesn't get a lot of playing time, so he's in fact going to pass it to Wiggins. This is a legitimate option in the Klay play, but, from the context, I think it's pretty clear that you should be trying to pass to Otto Porter Jr. He hits this bounce pass to Wiggins, but Wiggins starts pointing back at Chiozza, I think to clearly say, hey man, you're not supposed to pass it to me. This is a fake. I didn't mean to fake you out. You're supposed to pass it over here. So he gets the pass. And then if you see Chiozza, he's going to look over at Wiggins, and then he's going to look over here and go, oh yeah, I guess I was supposed to hold on to the ball and pass it. He looks over, and he's going to point over there and kind of go, what happened here? I don't fully understand how this play is not going off. Can you give the ball back? I know it's supposed to end with it going to that pin down. There he is. He's still pointing. Wait, what? How? What's going on here? So Kevon Looney just keeps on going through with the logic of the play. We almost never get to this part of the Klay play, so this might be built in. So Kevon Looney has set the pin down, and when it actually goes to the slipper, then Looney's going to run up and try to set a screen so Wiggins can have a quick pick and roll. The play's a bit of a disaster. There's 8 on the shot clock because they took so long to get into the play. Looney gets there. He comes over here ready to set a screen. Andrew Wiggins, I think more than half the time, will reject the screen, and he does it again. Rejects the screen. So little time left. Wiggins did actually draw 2 people, but the whole play is getting very close to collapse. He does toss it to Looney. Looney can't hold on to the ball. Looney just throws a hand grenade back to Wiggins. And enjoy the hand grenade. It's going to explode your field goal percentage. Oh well, they tried. So that's a story how the Warriors got Otto Porter Jr. 3 threes in 1 minute and blew open the game, and then tried to force feed him for a 4th one. And even though the Rockets made it a bit closer in the second half, the Warriors pulled away. Okay, here's a close-up. The defender actually walked all the way in, and he's got his foot under Otto Porter Jr.'s landing spot. This is a foul. He should have gotten a free throw. Steve Kerr looks religiously fulfilled at this moment. Steph is ready to run around like a child. And now this is like a Greek play or something. Moses Moody alert. Chiozza alert. Oh, Draymond swooping in also. Good. Oh, even Mike Brown got into it to help him up. They give him a push. There he goes.